Meeting at 6 p.m.
Like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Boxtos? Here. Mr. Cole?
Here.
Mr. Lohr here. At this time, I would like public comment for agenda items only. First on the list, Dave Wiltrout.
Afternoon, early evening. Dave Wiltrout, 34 Hudson Road. This is reference to the 25 budget for the paving project. It's listing the road project for $300,836, and it's partially funded from the $525,000 of liquid fuels grant money, and we are only receiving $249,365 for the 2025 liquid fuels grant. Correct?
It is not funded with liquid fuels.
You're saying the road project's not funded with liquid fuels?
The paving project is not.
Paving.
Tar and chip is.
Tar and chip is.
Yes.
Okay. And, all right, well, that, what you're taking that fund out of, that will still be all liquid fuels, so that would require the liquid fuels grant money be used for this expenditure. All right. And then the audit committee has advised that we do not have confirmation of the surety bond for 2025 for $500,000 that was required by the township for 2025 at the January 2025 organizational meeting, correct?
Sure, I've been calling the loan agency, wondering what's going on, why that bond isn't done. So I'm working on that. She's on the bond from last year's bond, but we were addressing that. Oh, one way or the other.
Because if I remember correctly, you stated in January's meeting that in 3 days we'd have that bond.
That's what I was told.
Yeah, well, kind of ironic, we don't have that yet. So, and then you go down, then you could also find out that, but honestly, everybody up here, we've never been bonded for the 6 years you guys have been in there, correct? Except for last year, and Bill Pollock's the one that brought that up, and then you got $100,000 for last year. But all the rest of the previous years, you've never been bonded. You wouldn't know that? Well, you don't see that? You being a solicitor, you don't see any of that? The bond?
If it comes up, the question comes to me, I'll address it.
Seems to me like you'd be involved in that aspect of it, with a bond. Yeah. You're like an overseer of these guys also, are you not? To help them out?
I'm a legal advisor.
Legal advisor, okay. All right. So, all right, let's see here. Well, all right, we also understand the township is currently undergoing a liquid fuels audit for 2022 and 23, which could put us past grant money, use at risk that the report is due at any time, right? You haven't.
I think that report's been filed.
It's been filed.
I talked to the woman, her name is Stephanie, Union Town. That report has been filed.
It's not public. It's published on the Auditor General's data website, and as of this afternoon, it's not public yet.
Well, I don't know, but I talked to a woman in Union Town that does it. Report is there. I have a copy of it.
You have a copy of it? You can give us a copy? That answer is yes?
I'll send you a copy.
And then also, this would be something for the public to like to know. Why won't you provide a copy of surety bonds for 2020 and beyond to our auditor committee, and then so to the residents as required? And then, you guys, our auditors put in place this year for $500,000 January meeting, and so I guess we're going to see where we're at with that when that finally comes through.
What do you want? What year? 2021?
We've never been bonded. There was all the way from 2020 through this previous year. You had a $100,000 bond last year. All right. So, well.
I asked for the bonds in a request. 2020 on, and the only one that I was given was for 2020. And it was stated that those were not on file and all the records were checked. Right to know requests that I have. I actually, by the way, I actually have 6 right to know requests that, enforcement action is needed because I filled them and they were granted. I'm sure you can get right on the thing. Made an appearance on it. But I plan on getting an enforcement action.
I did get a couple of these.
What's that?
Did you get a response from Harrisburg?
For my right to know request appeal? Absolutely, back in December.
The surety bonds have to be given to the audit committee. That's a requirement.
I know.
Every year. They don't have any.
What the requirement is.
Well, why haven't we done it? You have to do that for liquid fuels. You have to give the audit committee a copy of the surety bond.
I'll have to check with
That hasn't been done since 2020.
I'll have to check with the secretary.
The right to know requests were ignored. It hasn't been done. There's no record of any surety bond for 2020, 21, 22, and 23. And in 24, February 20th, you took out a $100,000 bond, but in 2020, you required a $750,000 surety bond, which is what we have done every year previously to 2020. We went many years without a bond, and then you did a $100,000 bond in February of 2024. That doesn't even cover the liquid fuels, which does not cover the requirements for a liquid fuels grant. It has to be more than the amount of the grant. And the liquid fuels grant this year is $249,000. Last year, I think it was $235,000. So a $100,000 bond is inadequate even for the liquid fuels. And
I understand, Bill.
I mean, means that the liquid fuels grants for 5 years, which is almost $1.5 million, are at risk because we didn't meet one of the fundamental requirements of the surety bond.
Okay. Next, Mike Warnott.
I got several comments here. You can answer.
Respond to it. We've been told the overtime for the supervisors is kept off the books and is only recorded by the individual supervisors, and they alone determine when the credit or pay will be taken. 6 months of timesheets received for January through June 24 under the right to know request showed no overtime recorded for any supervisor.
Here's 2024. Overtime and comp for you asked our last meeting.
What's that?
You asked our last meeting. I had Julie.
Okay. We've also been told that the overtime for road workers is also kept off the books and is only recorded by the individuals, and they determine when the credit or pay will be taken. 6 months of timesheets received for January to June 24 under right to know request showed no overtime records for any road worker. How do we track this and show the public?
So the timesheets are totally something different than the comp sheets.
So is it written anywhere about what's overtime, when it was done, and what
Yes,
for?
it has a totally separate sheet that's wrote on, and that's recorded by the secretary and signed by the supervisors.
And the auditor's got to prove it.
No.
It's never been like that for
No?
the last 20-some years.
Okay.
We're following the same protocol that was done 20 years ago. The same sheets.
Okay.
But
State.
the audit committee has to approve overtime for the supervisors. That's state code. You're saying you have another set of sheets that are called comp sheets. They're just like time sheets?
Yes, that's what we rate our
Overtime.
overtime on. Whether you,
How can you, isn't the time sheet the fundamental sheet that you use to drive the comp sheet?
so if you were to choose overtime, Bill, it would be on that normal pay sheet, so you could get paid. The comp sheet, if you decide to take comp time, it's filled out on there. The date, the time,
What you did.
what you did,
Okay, the comp sheet is just for comp time.
Yes,
So that's a separate record-keeping system for comp time.
exactly.
Well, that, when we did a right-to-know request for the timesheets, this is a key part of the timesheets. So the comp sheets should be provided with the right-to-know request for the time.
If you probably didn't ask for the comp time,
I asked for all records of time sheets. I would assume that the time you work would be on time sheet. So
yeah,
I
if,
didn't know that there.
maybe if she just asked for the timesheets, Bill, maybe that,
But
the
on
comp
time,
would
if
include.
if the timesheet doesn't show overtime, you're saying you keep it in your head and you write it on a comp sheet. Well, the timesheet is invalid then.
No,
The timesheet is
the
supposed to capture
timesheet
the time.
only has overtime on it if you're taking it. If you don't take overtime, your timesheet is you worked 8 hours that day, or if you worked 4 hours that day, or whatever you did. The comp sheet is a separate sheet. Say if it snowed and we went out like 4 to 6 in the morning before we start our regular shift, it would be marked on there 4 to 6, and it's comp time and what you did. You salted road, plowed and salted roads, the date, the time, and then those sheets.
That's a time sheet.
So you're
So
saying
you're
on
writing
some
time,
days,
duty, and a thing. Where does that not consist as a time sheet?
Well, we talked about this before, about maybe trying to add that to our timesheet to make it more simpler.
so if the timesheet shows 8 hours and you work 12 hours, and on this little comp sheet shows 12 hours, the timesheets are inaccurate. And that's the key driving financial document.
No, they're not inaccurate at all.
Well, you're saying the comp sheet would show 4 hours, but the timesheet doesn't show, timesheet shows 8 hours. The timesheet doesn't record that you've got overtime for that day, and the timesheets are what you sign off on as the supervisor of the employee.
Right.
So that's not, you have to capture all the time on the timesheets. Obviously, we want, at this point, we never heard of comp sheets. We want a copy, but any business, that's why you sign the timesheet, because it's.
We signed the comp sheets also.
We signed the comp sheets also.
But the time sheets-
Same, we signed the comp. Bill, if you go to that back room back there, we've been doing this since
Joe, it doesn't matter.
1999, the same way.
Joe, it doesn't
The same
matter.
exact way.
It doesn't matter if it's wrong, it has to be correct.
I don't think it's wrong, Bill.
There's nobody in the world that doesn't, a timesheet is to capture all of the time. We need a copy of this, we'll go to the regs. I've never heard of a comp sheet separate
Well,
and
you
not putting.
just put a
overtime
right
on
to
the
know in
timesheet.
for the comp sheets.
Well, we've looked at
And
this.
wait all this time, I put right to know request in this past Thursday, just for
When he does?
November and December 1. Haven't heard a thing yet.
I don't
I don't know
know
what's
I don't know
going
anything
on,
about
but-
that.
Well, maybe.
I haven't known, I didn't think that there's any present right to knows in.
No, I stopped doing them for a little while to catch up with all the ones that were never answered, or not given all of the stuff, or tried to get around for whatever.
Okay.
I mean, you're able to get on the onto the OR portal. You guys have your own account. You can see all your docket sheets, everything that's been brought in, you guys appeals, everything. I have my own, where the same thing, anything I've brought in the field, it shows all of it. All of it. She has sent all of it.
You have something else, Mike, before we move
Yeah.
on?
Sorry, Mike.
Sorry. Next statement is, state code require the audit committee approve all supervisor overtime and supervise approval all employees overtime. So how can this policy conform with the code, provide accurate management of taxpayer money? The overtime cost, comp time, and payouts is not shown on the timesheet. Well, you just gave me this sheet here. Budget and financial report, how you can expect to be in compliance with the codes, let alone the taxpayers understand how effectively this is being managed. Mr. Laker, is that a state code? Yes or no? I don't have it.
I think there are, I think the auditors have approved what, what's going to get paid.
But they don't have to approve their timesheets and their pays.
They don't, the auditors do not approve pay at the January meeting when the auditors meet.
Correct.
In January, that they approve. overtime is by federal law.
They get paid for overtime work, I understand that. But the auditors have to approve it before they get paid.
I don't think so. I think they just have to approve it in the beginning of the year, Mike. That's what I understand.
It's
No.
supposed to be once a year to approve the rate. They don't meet every month if there's overtime.
All right, questions for the current total accumulated overtime for even the supervisors at the February meeting was not answered. Can each of you supervisors tell us how much overtime you had in 24? Okay, it's on paper here. And how much to date? Is it on here for the date this year?
So I just saw you asked for
24. Okay,
and I got, if you want the date,
please. We have also apparently have also underlined done. Excuse me. We apparently also have unidentified liabilities for overtime at the end of the year that are not recorded in the year in financial statements, which violates these requirements as well. With the total township employment cost approaching $800 per year per household, the lack of disciplined time clock system to record and lax overtime policies to effectively manage our resources is a noticeable deficiency that should not be allowed to happen.
they haven't been working on getting the time clock.
Mhm.
That's in the works. There will be a time clock.
Okay. I would like to have a motion to accept the minutes from the February 12th, 2025 meeting.
Make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. To like a motion to approve approval of all checks, warrants, and transfers as listed and any other necessary transfers.
I'll make the motion to approve all checks, warrants, and transfers as listed, and any other necessary transfers.
I second. Old business. What? Oh, sorry. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. 3, old business. A, like a motion to open and award fuel bids,
Make the motion to award, open
which, there is no fuel bids came in. And I believe, Jim, we have to bid that a second time? Okay. So we were advertised to bid that a second time. B, I would like a motion to open and award the anti-skid bids. Second it.
All in favor?
Here's.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, the first bid was by Lewis, and theirs was $28 a ton, and A&S Landscaping was $27 a ton.
Make a motion of award A&S the anti-skid, $27 a ton.
I second it. All in favor?
Yes.
New business. I'd like to authorize a motion I would like to make a motion to authorize engineer to advertise bids for the 2025 paving projects.
I'll make the motion to authorize an engineer to advertise the bids for 2025 paving project.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Could you list the streets that are being paved, roads?
Atlantic and Young.
Atlantic,
Atlantic Lanik, and Young.
And the distance on each one? Or is that the whole street, or whole road?
I can get it to you right after the meeting.
Okay,
I have it. I don't have it on me.
okay.
Okay, B, I would like to make a motion to authorize engineer to advertise bids for the 2025 tar and chip project. What's that? Yeah. All in favor of the paving projects?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to authorize an engineer to advertise the 2025 tar and chip.
I second it. All in favor?
Yes.
Those are Azo, Johnson, and Lusk. C, I'd like to make a motion to donate $3,000 to the Bentleyville Public Library for 2025 season. I make the motion to donate $3,000 to Bentleyville Public Library.
Second.
All in favor? Yes. 5, reports. Supervisors. Joe?
One crew's been out trimming trees. Currently, they're down on Weary Road. We replaced the end wall on the one pipe down there. I've been mowing again when I can. We're going to start sweeping some of the anti-skid off of the intersections. We've got some pipes to replace on Atlantic Road, one on Rainy Road. That's about it for me right now.
You have anything, Jim?
Yeah, publicly, I'd like to thank Jerry Pompey, Morgan Excavating, for providing the Bentworth Baseball Association about 20 loads of millings down at the baseball facility, softball facility in 84. He approached us about who could use them, and publicly like to thank him for helping us out, helping them out.
Planning and zoning. Linz?
So official violation letters have been sent out. They say applications are to be reviewed on March 31st at 10 a.m. by the determine the eligibility of additional parcels. Immediately afterward at 6 p.m., the Board of Supervisors will convene.
Public comment, non-agenda items. Paul Myers? Okay, Dave Wiltrop.
Yeah, I'm just curious, you have all the financials for 2024 done, for fiscal year for everything?
The audit's being done right now, but the auditor did a profit and loss statement here.
Right up here's a sheet, Dave. Mike Ornott?
Yeah, I want to ask a question. Whenever you pass a motion, aren't you supposed to ask for a question before you take a vote? That's never been done.
It's not required.
Pardon?
It's not required.
So we can interrupt.
Only one of the board members. The board has, not questions from the audience, it's questions from the board. That's why there's comments on agenda items before the board.
We got an example here to pass the, what motion to do the roads. And the question was asked about what roads there were. That would be the time when it's brought up. That's why I'm bringing this up.
They know what roads they are. You're asking a question. The question is, Robert's Rules of Order, it's they have a question.
They have to deliberate. And I mean, they have to let us.
No, they've already decided they want to vote yay, they vote yay.
Would it be public knowledge though to tell you what roads they're gonna do?
Absolutely.
That's what they should
I'm
do.
not saying that's not what we should do.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll follow
He's
that.
talking about questions when it comes to.
Next up, Barb Campbell.
Mike, is it Mike, right? Yes. On the paving projects, it might not even happen. Just because you put it out for bid doesn't mean that the road's gonna get done.
I
I mean,
understand.
if the price comes up too high, or it fluctuate, or we don't get the right bids, it doesn't have to be awarded. Just because it goes out for bid, it has no bearing if it's gonna be done or not. So the price could be the big one. In the last few years, there was only one company that did tar and chip. Everyone else folded up. So
I understand that, but I have no knowledge of what road would be done, and I think it's a good idea to ask any questions that the township residents could ask if they don't know, like myself.
yeah, it's a good question, but it might not be. I mean, it could be done, could not be done.
Okay, Barb.
Barb Morton Campbell, 386 Lusk Road. I was born and raised in this township. I am a Somerset Township resident. I am also a school bus driver. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank all three of you for the help that you've given us with a tree going down that we could get the buses through. The reason I'm here is that I do not understand what is going on with this voting, with these new supervisors. We're supposed to vote for 3. You have that 2 are going to run for 6 years and 1 is going to run for 4 years. Why is that?
Changed to 5-member board.
It was changed what?
The 5-member board.
Right, but why aren't they all going to be 6 years like they are now?
It'll come up to 6 years. As it.
This election every 2 years.
How can you vote for somebody for 4 years and they come up to 6 years?
Now they're only running for 4
That's
years.
why 4.
Right. So how did you get to vote?
Next time up will be 6. The new ones come in after they have to stagger it. So only one supervisor.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying there. So when we're voting for these, is it going to be that this is a working supervisor, this is a non-working supervisor? Well, then what are you going to do if you lose a working supervisor? Right now you have a working supervisor that's up for re-election.
The question is, what are you gonna do if all 3 to get elected want to work?
Okay,
That's the problem.
all right, what are you going to do?
We don't know.
What the board votes on it.
What board?
The board supervisor.
Well, this is a problem.
You have a budget.
This is a problem.
And that's how you work. If you have a budget, the budget is for so many full-time people. It's reviewed, it's approved. So if your budget is covering 1 or 2 or 3 supervisors, you can't bring 5 supervisors on because your budget doesn't handle it. That's how it's all.
Are we going to have all these people willing to work that are running? Well, it comes down to this. This is what I'm getting to. If something would happen, who do you contact? They're not working supervisors. Who do you contact to come out and help a bus through or do this or do that? What?
It's still contact.
Well, not if it's after hours. They're done it too. Well, everybody after a certain hours is paid overtime. But as a resident, how are you going to get through to them if they're not there? That is my question here.
There'll be somebody named. Maybe somebody who wrote for supervisor.
The other thing is too, Joe ran against somebody, you ran unopposed, and you ran unopposed, correct? Now all of a sudden, all these people want to be a township supervisor. Are they qualified for the job? Can you go out there? Do you have your CDL? Can you go out there and run that equipment?
I have a CDL.
Well, how about all the other ones? Can you run that equipment, Bill?
I have a CDL, but I do not want to work the township job.
Well, that needs to be taken into account.
Ask them if they all have their CDL.
Yes.
I know who does and who doesn't. That's my point here. That is something that needs to be addressed, I feel. You want the job, you should be qualified to do the job. I drive school bus, I have to have a CDL and I have to do certain things. So if you have a job, you have to be qualified to do that job. So should they.
We're trying to do.
So all the people that are now running are qualified to do this job?
Unfortunately, no, they don't, that's not a requirement.
Well, you know, that's something that needs to be addressed here.
Just know that we'll have it all spelled out, whether or not you're.
Well, you know what, when I go to vote, I want to know what I'm voting for.
I'm gonna have it for you.
As a voter, I want to know when I go to the poll who I'm voting for and what I'm voting for. That is my right as a voter. Right. It needs to be spelled out. There's so much conflict with this. Nobody knows what's going on. Who's on first? Who's going to be in control? If you have non-working,
There could be a chance there might not be no working supervisor.
exactly. I mean, you don't know this.
There could be a chance.
And this needs to be addressed, I feel. I want to know what I'm voting for.
They can't address that.
Well, I'm bringing it up so that whoever is doing this can address it.
Thanks for bringing it up, Art.
I feel it needs to be brought up. I'm not going to sit out there in a bus and not know who to call and wait for people to play rock, paper, scissors to come and help me.
We try our best for you.
What's that?
We do our best for you.
You have. I mean, I'm saying that. I said that. You all have helped us out and we appreciate it. And that needs to be addressed also, I feel.
Thank you.
Number 6, I'd like to make a motion for adjournment.
Thank
Can
you.
I interrupt? I asked a while back for job description. If I want to get hired on a borough, I was told they do not have one.
Yes, they do.
They told me back then it wasn't. I'll go back
I
and
know,
watch the
I know
video.
they have, because I gave a call in January.
To be required to get hired on a borough, say the road crew.
Not the ones I have are from the,
You have it for the different specific jobs, like supervisor,
I have it for Joe.
auditor.
I have it for Joe and Mark. I don't have it for the regular.
We have it for the guys too. It's like you have to have a CDL, you have to be able to lift so many pounds, those type of things.
There's job descriptions there.
I asked that and they said, no, we don't have anything. Also, I did have a school bus license. I had a full boat CDL. That's just a little point of information. I still have it.
You can drive it once a week.
Make a motion.
Yes.
And so we've got a bus driver leaving, you got a school bus that's worse.
Have a motion for adjournment, please.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yeah.